This is how I do
that.
it.
The dope game stupid. Yo, what up? Secret house in the house. Secret house again. Yo, this is Jet, this is Mega, this is Deza. You already know. If you don't, get to know, or don't. I'm not your dad.
Hit him with the Tokyo-based
hip hop, art and culture, avant-garde, experimental,
etc., etc.
Yo, I can't do the pop
music,
pop alt rock
reviews, conversations.
Hip hop conversations. Oh, yeah. We don't like. We always call them discussions in the video description because even though it says reviews in our channel name, we're kind of against. We're against reviews.
Yeah.
Don't expect a nice 8 out of 10 from any of us today.
Also, like a lot of what we do is not being like it comes with a really flowery horn arrangement. We don't really do that. We talk about the music, but we don't describe a lot of the sonic qualities and details for people. Like, go listen to the shit.
Yeah.
Sometimes
I don't know if that works. I don't know if that's accurate.
In any case, today we're going to be talking about the debut release of Atlanta, Georgia-based Revival Season. And I'm going to just read straight from the press release.
The golden age of snitching.
The golden age of self-snitching. Because I am incredibly lazy. The brainchild of Atlanta-based producer polymath Jonah Swilley, a founding member of Mattiel, and also known for his production work with Moonwalks and Night Beats, and Columbus, Georgia rapper Brandon Bez Evans.
Hard name.
Is it Bevins or Evans?
Evans, my bad. Revival Season have announced details of the release of their debut album, Golden Age of Snitching, which came out in February, but we fucked up. We normally try to review like recent things because like there's a million records that came out 6 months ago we didn't get to that we would like to talk about, but somehow that passed us by and we ended up talking about this one.
Who was it that was telling us to listen to this? It was Yeti and it was Patrick's. Two people on our Discord were like, "Yo, this is great." I've been loving it.
Shouts out to our Discord, shouts out to the community, shouts out to the people we rock with before we get too deep into it. We got Caltrops Press, we got a Noname Big Club, we got a really amazing care package from Extraordinary Rap Podcast,
shout out to
Weird Rap.
Yeah.
Sonic Cloth, who is currently on hiatus, but
a wonderful back catalog,
incredible back catalog, all kinds of amazing music,
including one with us discussing Arm & Hammer at like 3 hours, like
Fly Fidelity podcast, and
Rap Music Plug
podcast.
Yeah.
If I didn't, I did. And of course our many wonderful patrons who make this show not possible because we would be doing this anyway. But you pay for my trains and you pay for these high boys. So
you guys also pay for a variety of other different things, like supporting some of the creators that we just mentioned. We are patrons for Noname supports us, we support her. Rap Music Plug podcast supports us, we support them, and it's a lot of that. And even last month, I matched the amount that our Patreon gets with money to support Mecca in her legal battle against Roy Rap Ferreira. But that's neither here or there. Rory, friend of the show, and I was just doing that to make sure he gets his justice fairly squared. So support women and all that.
I gotta say though, whoever recommended the album in the Discord, thank you. This album was crazy. It was dope. And
before we get into the specifics of the record, when we're reviewing an artist for the first time, we always begin by saying, how do we know this artist in question? So, Deza, how do you know?
I don't know this
Revival Season.
I don't know Revival Season. I just learned about them from you guys. So yeah.
Okay.
And Be Easy is such a fucking cool name. I'm sorry, it's dope. I like that name.
Shit's hard.
The producer's name is it's Jonah. No,
Jonah Swilley.
Okay.
Yeah. What about you, Mego?
This is a first for me. I was not familiar with their work. I was either of them.
I think this is their debut, though, right?
Correct. Yes, it's their first. They've been releasing a string of singles over the last year or two. Personally, I'm a day one fan. I'm sometimes known as the third member of Revival Season. It's also my first time listening to them. So, how do we feel about the golden age of self-snitching?
First of all, we gotta go to the title. That title
hot.
is
maybe
amazing.
title of the year so far.
That's crazy.
It's up there. It's definitely
honestly.
up there. Yeah.
Chris Crack hasn't released enough this year.
Okay, yeah, he would be in contention. Yeah, him or fucking SD Knack.
Or SD Knack,
yeah. Stone Temple Pyrex is up there.
It's definitely up there.
But yeah, no, the title's great. The album's great. First and foremost, I just thought it was all pretty dope. It was fun. energetic, contemplative, and also loose with a big variety of different sound. I could see exactly why the people told us all about this, and it's just high quality in terms of all those things. Really dope rap styling, really dope content behind the raps, a variety of different fucking flows and approaches. The production also wide and varied. The first two songs, I thought we were getting into a highly like specific type of rap rock type of album.
Yes,
But
I was definitely.
it definitely drifts a bit in regards to that kind of like sonic palette, which I was kind of pleased with. That's not always my favorite sound, but the way that they put down those few tracks, and all the tracks here were great and upbeat. It also did, I don't hate to, but I always feel that when I compare an artist to other artists, that it does a bit of injustice to everybody. But my first two like listens to the album, it reminded me of two other projects that we did.
Paris,
The
Texas.
Paris, Texas.
I knew you were gonna say
the
that.
Paris, Texas, and also the Angry Black Man, album. And I just mean that in terms of like the energy, some of the kind of the lyrical content, and just like that type of vibe. This is not an album that you listen to while you're just like hanging out and chilling. This is kind of like this probably work better for you at the gym or on your way to like fight your landlord or something.
Definitely went into that rotation for the
an
gym.
intentional kind of abrasiveness, especially in the opening few tracks. I was also thinking like a Crime Kills, Nate No Face type thing, or even to bordering heading towards like the Soul Glow, where it's like it's leaning more in a rock direction, Rage Against the Machine, like that kind of like early new metal, like Korn and the like, but taken in like a modern hip hop context with some absolutely phenomenal rapping over the top.
There's just not like, while there's like obviously like live music stems that are being layered here, but it's clearly coming from like it doesn't sound as like wide as a multi-instrumental project like a Soul Glow might sound, or like a Rage would sound. So I need to do something about that. Sorry about that. But it is just really dope. I also think that one of the more kind of interesting aspects of the album to me are not just the just like the sonic qualities, but I do think that Be Easy is making a lot of really proper type of, I don't know, critiques and diagnosis of issues that happen in the United States, and particularly to black men. He is a black man,
especially in
from
Atlanta,
from the South, right? And in the context of that and all of the kind of tumultuous things that have been happening in the United States. I've been in Tokyo for 12 years, but obviously I'm 40 years old, African myself, and grew up in Inglewood, California, Oceanside, California places, and I'm well aware. But like in Georgia right now, there's the issue with Cop City, Cop City, and just a lot of things. And one of the kind of primary, most well-known advocates for black racial justice and a kind of voice box for media and of this hip hop community is Killer Mike, who is from Atlanta himself, but obviously on the different side of the Cop City fight that Be Easy is on. And not that Be Easy specifically says like, yo, I don't know if he says fuck Cop City, but I kind of gather from the politics, not necessarily like a radicalism that's beyond, your woke liberalism. Like, I don't know if he's a communist, but he's getting there, and a lot of this is dope. And some of the topics on the album, such as the golden age of self-snitching, it's not necessarily new shit. It's a dope name, but like, we got rap snitch connections, and that's like the same thing. But he's also accurately fucking bombing on what the fucking problem is, and in a really dope lyrical way.
Self-snitching, which obviously
it's become even worse. It doesn't even relate to rappers anymore. Maybe as MF Doom had like kind of claimed it at the time. People post videos of themselves doing stupid shit all the time. And just getting arrested. Just
especially in that surveillance era. And I think that's something else that's really cool about this record. Even when I don't catch on to all of the specific lyrics, the energy and the kind of tone of the whole thing, you can glean like this sense of this fury and this paranoia, that kind of runs under the whole thing. That it's like, even when you're not specifically Dark Souls beat, listening to the the exact phrasing of the lyrics, because there's some more flowery things where it's like, oh, I'm not sure exactly what he's getting to here, and obviously, like, I don't think the lyrics were available online or anything, so you couldn't like sit down and go through with a fine tooth comb, but you really do capture that rage and that kind of broader rebelliousness.
It's like a passion there.
Passion that is at the core of this record. I will be mildly contrarian and say I didn't like the first few tracks of the album. It took me a little bit of time to warm to this record. I think the tail end of this album is phenomenal. And I think it's probably from about... essentially from like Last Dance onward that I'm like fully on board. But I also think, they've kind of gone from almost like a live music style arrangement. Like I could see this album being performed in this order on stage, like with the set, like, because typically you like to open with something big and explosive, right? You like to open with something that really like gets the crowd going, gets everyone hyped up. Yeah. And the album kind of begins with this kind of long intro on Look Out Below. Yeah. And some of these and it builds up over time. It starts with this synthesizer and some very basic production. Some percussion. I think some of the chord progressions could be a bit more interesting, and I think some of the drum patterns could be a bit more interesting than just 1 2 1 2 1 2. But once things kind of really kick into gear, I think this is a really wonderful record.
I think it's really cool too. The drums, I believe, are live drums as well. It's not really being MIDI played in. It's just like live drums.
I'm not sure. Probably.
So it kind of gives it more of a raw feel to it, which I really like.
Sure. For me, I don't enjoy the album in like sections. I like a song and then I don't like a song so much, and then I really like a song and then I don't like 3 of them so much. This album to me, I really enjoy it and I love it, but there's a few qualities of it that are not necessarily my wheelhouse or things that I just don't feel so interesting for me. Nothing on this album makes me say, that's whack, like I did perhaps on the Paris, Texas joint. I just didn't really care for some of those things. Bitch. But this, like, I generally think it's pretty good. I think it's a really dope kind of like debut album. I think that some of the directions that they're moving on some of these tracks work a little bit better for me at times. But when it comes to people discussing, politics and such, I tend to get a little bit too much like fine-tooth combing the ideology a bit, and there was times on here where I was just like, all right, like, I get all of this, but it doesn't necessarily speak to me. It's like if you, I don't know, a lot of times when I'm listening to music, it has to connect with me in some type of way. I can't listen to music all day about like getting bitches and trying to get money and shit. It just doesn't speak to me in any staying power way. I don't listen to it just to feel good. Otherwise, I might listen to fucking Drake because it sounds just fine at Forever 21. But there's a few songs here that I really like and a few songs that I just don't care for.
I do like I can almost see, you can really see the through line that, comes from this group being from the South, of the kind of bluesy, hard rocky elements through Southern hip hop. You have these kind of bouncing Atlanta hip hop qualities on certain tracks like Pump.
Like Barry White here is kind of like the way it builds. It's one of those like double time triplets.
Yeah, it's very UGK like.
One of the things that I like to point out is like one of the issues that I had with another album that we reviewed that did kind of a rap rock type of thing. I'll stop referencing it directly because it's neither here or there, not important. But like I do like some of the kind of like musical elements that are added to this album that feel experimental. They feel not derivative of other sounds that they're just trying to shape into a hip hop rapper duo type of joint. Like this track, Barry White, you know, you'll hear like the odd guitar strum at different times to give it a different type of energy. And And I think that shit works tremendously well.
This would sound really good played by a live band.
Bro, all of the production on this album is really good. All the lyrics are really good. It's just like one of those things where it's like, oh, I personally just don't love this. But I think that top to bottom, the album is pretty fucking great. Yeah. The album is pretty great.
I was scouring the internet and stuff for information about the album. And I think, and anyone please correct me if I'm wrong, but I heard that he actually rapped it first, and then they built the instrumentals around the raps.
Okay.
Interesting.
So
Interesting
process.
process,
Like a backwards way of doing it. So
Sure. That's interesting because it sounds the opposite. It sounds like he heard this, caught a vibe, and then started writing a flow to it. So he's just sitting there like...
But on the other hand, like, I mean, a lot of these tracks do have these kind of progressions that go through them where it's like the intensity kind of builds up. And it starts off with, you know, mostly just synthesizers, and then like you'll have a pulse that kind of comes through, and then, you know, it kind of explodes at the end. And usually that coincides kind of well with Beezy's rapping and the way that it comes together. So it wouldn't surprise me if they did it this way. It is an interesting process. But this album also doesn't really sound, you know, we've mentioned a bunch of artists that kind of evoke a similar vibe, but I haven't really heard anything that sounds exactly like this.
That's right. Yeah, I think it is unique. I think it's wildly unique. And I was really impressed by Be-Easy because for a person, you know, I've been, you know, tapped into independent underground, all the dope artists community at times, and I've never heard of this cat before, but for a first type of album dropping, incredibly refined wordsmith. The breath control sounds amazing. The variety of flows that he has on top of that, like clear, concise ideas being put across. Yeah, very, very dope. This is I shout out to our community for putting it down, because I was just like, I probably would not have heard about this otherwise. Somebody just pointed out. I think somebody was like, yo, it's the new fucking Run the Jewels. Like, we can cancel the other one. I'm like, yo, I've loved LP since 97, bro. Like, I love LP. I want a solo LP album. I could have, I'm good without Killer Mike. But yeah, this is fucking phenomenal. Incredible project. Yeah, like some of my favorites on this album, like Golden Silverware, fucking slap. Everybody also love to see it. Slaps for me. Pump is also incredibly, Pump and yeah.
I guess favorite tracks on here.
I didn't mean to cut us off and end it. I'm just like, yeah, I was just kind of rambling. Yeah,
I mean,
can we do that? We good?
Yeah,
all right.
I'm good.
What about you, Des? Like favorite
song?
Yeah,
Eyes Open, Stars. The second song, Barry White. Everybody was dope as well, but I really like Eyes Open specifically.
That's a really good track, actually. Tail end of the record is pretty phenomenal for me. I think like Pump, Everybody, Eyes Open, Love to See It could all be
that 4-track run.
That 4-track run at the end. I could say that with those are my favorite tracks. I'd also probably include Chop and Boomerang on there.
You weren't feeling propaganda. Didn't speak to your Jamaican sensibility. You weren't Bumbaclad them.
Oh yeah, that's like the reggae.
Babylon them.
Don't get me wrong, like,
I didn't care for that one. That was the one song that I really didn't care for. And I don't think it's bad. It's just like I could be here to there. Like it's like a live hip hop band standard at this point.
I don't know if
the reggae type of.
I generally don't feel too great about a lot of these kind of Jamaica. Like the same on the Rhapsody, like some of the sort of reggae-ish tracks on there didn't care for. Least favorite song on the Cavalier, Where Did the Ting Come Proper? Like that was probably
what about the Lupe?
The Lupe,
he get a little bit in him,
a little on there as well.
Bag.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. Maybe just
Mayute. It's hard to tell if that's specifically London though, you know, as well, right?
Well, I mean, Lupe's not from either of those places.
He's
right?
not, but Amy Winehouse, right?
Yeah, okay.
But like, all of those things. It's just like
I'm just hating on Lupe.
It's just my own personal proclivity there.
Yeah, okay.
Like I've never really cared for the reggae joint on the hip hop album.
That's fair.
That's
fair.
Yeah.
Eyes Open though, there's some lyrics I really liked. Every time I choose Black Panthers over the poets, we ain't talking about the mission of business, the meeting over. You can't have no sit down with yes men and junkie promoters. Like that shit's just
hard.
Cool.
I should have wrote down more lyrics because there's quite a few like really hard
to catch
bars.
some of them though because you rap it fast, man.
Love to see it. Is also like a great kind of treatise on how people love to see they fetishize almost violence and buffoonery in the black community, and how a lot of those things are just projected in our representations. Like it's really thoughtful and concise album. For me, my favorite songs, probably Everybody, Love to See It, Gold and Silverware.
Cool. Yeah, Gold and Silverware is fucking fire. Actually, that's a really, really good one.
Yeah, that one goes. Yeah,
Drug Dealing and Revolution.
yeah.
Yeah.
I should have wrote down more lyrics. I don't know why I didn't. I was too busy kind of vibing, I guess.
It's a
Yeah.
good album to just kick back, man. Like, I'm definitely gonna have this in the rotation. And
It's also not a
working out
sit down, quiet, listen to album. Like it's not like sit down with headphones and listen to Revival
Yeah.
Season. Like no, you want to play this through some speakers. You want to play it loud. You want to do some shit.
Yeah, true that.
You want to go put an item in the headquarters of a tech company.
Put a redacted.
Yeah.
Put a beep in the.
If you redacted a cop, I won't tell on you. Yeah, stay left, move left. If you want book recommendations, I got them all day. I give those away for free.
Hey,
and
books.
the books. Yeah. That's all I do. Is collect books, never read them. No, I finished reading 2 books this week, and I'm proud of myself.
Nice.
Hey.
I finished the book too.
Yeah, I've always got my fucking dick in a book just to keep myself okay.
Bruh.
But,
I don't read. I'm educated by the school of life. Hard
Fucking-
knocks.
Fucking that paper.
Streets.
Yeah, keep your nose in the air and dick in a book, man. Just keep it moving. But yeah, Secret House again. Shout out to our patrons. Shout out to all our supporters. Like, subscribe, do all those type of things that help a channel like ours grow. If you're interested in doing that, yeah.
Let us know your thoughts about the album as well.
Yeah. Shout down Babylon.
Or don't.
Yeah.
Jet's not your dad.
I'm not your dad.
One day somebody's gonna be like, "You are my dad." It's gonna be a little bumbleclot.
a
little ragamuffin.
Little half Japanese,
Yeah.
quarter Jamaican,
Right.
quarter white
Right.
French kid
Yeah.
who just talks in a Jamaican accent.
Yeah, for some reason, it looks like Drake's kid.
That might be
A little ragamuffin.
that might be Jet's
Yeah.
worst timeline right there.
Yeah.
Are you going to be a dental technician?
Yeah. All right, peace.
See you guys.